What's poppin', Rocky Top? This is Josh Strange, director for the music department at 90.3 The Rock. Today is a very exciting day. I'm sitting down with a few members of one of my favorite bands coming out of England, Black Country New Road. They're one of the most creative and innovative bands coming out of England. Their latest album, Ants From Up There, released a month ago to this day and has been met with widespread critical acclaim, with many critics saying it's one of the best albums of the decade, if not the best. We've been playing them at the station, and I've heard from so many people just how much they love this album. And so it's a great honor to be talking with you guys. So just to start off the interview, I'm speaking with Charlie Wayne and Lewis Evans. Charlie plays the drums and Lewis is on the sax. So just wanted to say thank you for taking time out of your guys' busy day to come and speak with us.
Sure, thank you for having us. Very kind words.
Yeah, of course. Charlie, you guys can't see, but Charlie is currently in Neyland Stadium. He's got the background. How's it feel to be in Neyland, Charlie?
I mean, the atmosphere is electric. That's
yeah.
I would say, yeah. I just can't believe how big it is. I'm like, it's insane.
You're up in the gods there, mate.
I am up in the gods as well. I've got a great view of the players.
Home of Peyton Manning, if you guys know who Peyton Manning is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm surprised you can even see the line of scrimmage, my friend.
we were actually talking, me and Charlie were talking before you hopped on, Lewis. But I was curious, have you ever been to an American football game before?
No, never. I've never been to America.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
No,
okay.
Never.
Okay, gotcha. Do you have any desire to go to an American football game, or are you like?
Yeah, why not? I'm going to America on holiday at the end of this month. Going to New York. I'm going to see basketball. I really like basketball. I don't really get American football, to be honest.
I don't either. I live here, honestly.
Yeah, it just seems a bit like boring. I watched the Super Bowl for about an hour, and it's like they throw the ball and they catch it, and then everyone's going wild for that. And it's like, you just caught a ball. You haven't even scored.
It's very start and stop. It's
really start and stop.
Yeah.
It'd be like someone makes the tackle, then they go to the studio, and it's like, it's game time talk now. Like, oh, the way you threw that pigskin was beautiful. Yeah,
what I do like about it, though, is like, I love the pageantry of the whole thing. Like the way in which people like invest in their teams.
I did have a question with you guys just to start it off. So now that the album has been out for a month, I'm curious as to like what you guys have been up to since the release. Have you guys been at the studio making music, relaxing at home, or just basking in the glory of music critics worldwide, or all three?
We have been in rehearsal rooms writing new music. So we're still playing like a lot of festival shows in UK and Europe this summer. Right. So we've got a whole set to write that has to be about 45 minutes in order to fulfill the contracts of music festivals. Right. So we are kind of deep in the songwriting mode at the moment.
Okay.
And it's going well. It's going really well. We haven't had that much time to chill out or any of that. We haven't done that much basking. I think we went out on the night it came out, had a big one at a pub called the Boogaloo in Highgate, London. And then the week after, when the charts got announced, in the UK charts, we also had a bit of a big one that night, but not really been doing that much cool stuff, just been kind of getting to work.
Okay, gotcha. So no rest after coming off your album. Gotcha.
Yeah, no rest for the wicked.
No rest for the wicked. So many fans will know this, but a few days before the release of Ants From Up There, the lead vocalist, Isaac Woods, announced that he was departing from the band. And since that announcement, a lot of fans have been curious about what the future of Black Country's vocals will be. So I just wanted to ask you guys, will we see any of you guys or other members of the band as vocalists on any of the songs in future Black Country projects?
Yeah, I think that like the idea, I mean, when the band actually started, there was no sort of defined position for the vocals. It just sort of so happened that Isaac took up like the responsibility for doing the vocals for the first two albums, but it was never anything which was kind of set in stone, and it sort of became like he was sort of just became the lead singer by kind of convention rather than by sort of properly agreed on. And that, believe it or not, the idea always was for Tyler, or someone else, or like for us to kind of democratize the vocals slightly more in whatever project we did next. It just sort of so happened the timeline was kind of brought forward by circumstances that were kind of obviously out of our control. But yeah, I think that we're trying to democratize the voice as much as possible. So basically, everyone's going to be singing on the new stuff.
Well, that's so
which is-
exciting. That's really
Yeah.
so with the democratization of like the vocals, as you said, I've heard that it was a team effort for the songwriting for Ants from Up There, but it seems like a lot of Isaac's voice came through the songwriting. I'm curious with the songwriting going to change a little bit as well.
Yeah, in a way it's really different, because most of the songs started from Isaac, and then we all came in and wrote our parts on it and changed up the sound of each song. But this time it's basically whoever's singing the song is like bringing it to the group, and then they'll sing, and then we all write our own parts and talk about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's the same process once we're in a rehearsal room together, exactly the same. Because we work really well like that, and we get things done really quickly. But yeah, in terms of like where it comes from, it's different from different places. So yeah, it's gonna have like similar, same writing process. So it's gonna have similar sounds, similar like musical ideas, because it was all such a collaborative thing, you know.
Like a lot of cross-pollination of like everyone's minds coming together.
Exactly, but it's just cool. It's cool to like for the original stimulus to come from different places now. Because you've got like May's doing a couple songs, and it's like the place where her music like comes from is really different to where Tyler's comes from, to where mine comes from, so where like Charlie's comes from. You know, it's like we all have like different things that we contribute, and that we different like musical voices. And when one is put at the forefront of it, like actually writing the skeleton of the song, like it's just interesting. You get a different thing, but with the same kind of glue to glue it together of all of us writing our own parts on it.
Something that's really interesting about Black Country is kind of what you were just saying, of everyone's got their own musical inspirations and stuff that they grew up with. I've heard a lot about you specifically, Lewis, of the Jewish music that you've listened to and how that kind of plays into it. And a lot of you guys are classically trained. And actually, one of my questions was, how does the diversity of where you guys got your musical starts and what is that process like, and how do you guys fit all of those inspirations, schools of music together in the music?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's, yeah, we do, there's kind of like a quite neatly defined split in the group in terms of like actual sort of musical education. So like Tyler, Lewis, May, and Georgia sort of all had sort of quite formal musical educations, and Lewis, Georgia, and May like they went to Guildhall. I mean, Isaac went to Guildhall as well for a brief period of time, but not to the same extent.
He went to Guildhall for the student loan.
Yeah, he went to Guildhall. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so like their musical education has been sort of really rich, and that they bring something that's completely different to the table as what me or Luke would bring, which is like we basically learned our instruments through being in bands when we were younger, and like I learned how to play the drums basically sort of just in a rehearsal room at school, like when I was a teenager. And it's cool. You just get, what it means is that you just get a really nice melting pot of loads of different ideas where everyone's voice is respected, because we're all friends, and we all think of one another as being very competent musicians. We just come from different, I don't know, like just different musical places. Doesn't make anyone a better or worse musician. It just means that you have a different perspective, which means that you can be really creative and create something completely different. And like Lewis would be able to offer something which I would never have considered, but by that same token I would also offer something which Lewis may never would have considered either. It's just like it's a really cool and interesting, I don't know.
for me as a music fan, I think it's really, really cool to see a group of insanely creative people work together so well in a band. But like I've been watching some videos of you guys like interacting and then just reading the interviews, and it just seems you are making music, but like you said, you're all still really close friends, and that really comes out. Another group that comes to mind when I think of that is Brockhampton. Early Brockhampton, they're just like
Early Brockhampton.
yeah,
Early
they're like all in a house, and it's just like chaos, and they're just all making like really fun music. So what do you guys credit as helping you guys like work together so well, and like those dynamics of just like so many people and so many creative voices?
We're all quite similar people and have quite similar senses of humor, find similar things cool, but there's enough difference there that we don't find each other too annoying. And I don't know, it's the friendship thing really helps. And I think it depends on the kind of people that you are. Like, there's certain friends of mine that aren't in the band that if they were in the band, it would not work, because like certain people are certain types of people in certain types of situations. That's so broad, but like it's these guys, we all work really well together, and we know what each other's strengths are, we know what each other's weaknesses are, we know when people are uncomfortable, we know when we know when each other are happy with something, and we don't ever let anything kind of build up, no weird tensions or anything. Make sure it's all like out there in the open, and we're kind of the most important things we're like looking out for each other first, because there's no point in not doing that. Like, they're your friends first and foremost, and then they're your bandmates, and then there's you who is a little piece of this like group that is making music and people are enjoying out there. So it's like the priorities are really like important to us, making sure that everything that we do, we're doing for each other, not worrying about what other people are thinking as much as we possibly can, just making sure that we're all happy, we're all feeling good about stuff, whether that be musically or stuff that like in interviews or like in whatever, just making sure that we're looking out for each other. That's the most important thing. And it means that the whole project, the whole band can have legs, you know. It gives it like a longer sell by date, because of the way that we're approaching it. We just want to make sure that we all like what we're doing and we're still happy. If there was a point where we weren't happy doing it, we wouldn't do it. And that's the most important thing. And that's like why it was the exactly the right thing for Isaac to step down, because he wasn't enjoying it, and nothing to do with like how we were getting on. It's just it's a stressful thing to do. And it's kind of another reason why we want to mix up who's doing vocals, because it's too much responsibility to put on someone to just have them do the whole thing the whole time. They're fronting it, no matter how little he did like interviews or how little he put himself out there when we were doing like press campaigns, whatever you call it. Like, it still is, it's not a nice position to be in. So mixing it up, making sure no one ever has to feel like that again, because it's got to look out for each other, and we didn't really realize that it was getting to that point, but when it does get to that point, you've got to look after your friends. So yeah, it's all about like kind of making sure we're all good all the time. That's the most important thing. And yeah, maybe that's what Brockhampton needed to do.
Yeah, I think
I didn't mean to send for Brockhampton then. I kind of meant maybe that's what they decided to do, save their friendship.
Which I think honestly is like really cool. And I think for a lot of the members of your fan base, I feel like that kind of looking after each other and just kind of like wholesomeness, generally speaking, I feel like that's pretty rare in bands, at least from what I've seen. I've been looking at you guys' subreddit. I don't know if you guys ever look at the Black Country New Road subreddit, but everyone in there is just really understanding and really fun to interact with. Everyone's just like sharing their theories about the songs and everything. And so I actually, segueing off of that, posted in the subreddit to ask if any of the fans had questions for you guys. And so I got a question from Wormsby93.
What's up, Worm?
Shout out to Wormsby93. Thank you so much for your question. He or she, or they asked, do any of the band members have pre-show rituals? And if so, what are